Welcome to episode 67 of Nobody Special.
This episode, we talk about giving uncomfortably and whether tithing is a biblical value.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Welcome to Nobody Special, your podcast of two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, your Dave Ramsey protege of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, your other host of Nobody Special. Two generations of people talking about pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously.
So you got to put the money in different pots, and then that's how you budget. Envelopes, whatever.
I know that because I just downloaded the Dave Ramsey app. Or not Dave Ramsey. It's called like Every Dollar app for my budgeting.
That man's class is like $200 to take. And I'm like, hey, Dave, if you're listening to this podcast, if I had $200 extra, I wouldn't need your freaking class.
It's true.
I don't want to call it a sham.
But it is.
So anyway, Caleb, how are you today? No,
I'm
it's
doing
actually,
fine.
all right, all kidding aside, I've heard it's really good. And if that's the thing people are going through, financial, please go see Dave Ramsey stuff. It's actually pretty good.
See Dave Ramsey.
Caleb, how's it going? How's your week going?
My week is going well.
Uh-huh.
It's been cool. I don't know. Because basically, at this point, I have moved in to my apartment. Isn't that cool, guys?
You will have been moved in.
I will have been moved into my apartment. This is the fun of taping episodes for the future.
How is the new apartment?
It's awesome. I mean, I love having my new apartment.
I think we do this gag like every other episode, and I'm going to be honest, it's funny to me every time.
Because we both kind of freak out. Cause we're like,
by this time, we will
I could
have
be
gone
dead
to
by
this
next
movie.
week.
Yeah, seriously. And I promise, if you die between now and then, I'm still going to put the episode out, and then I'm going to tell people the next episode.
Yeah.
Our international friends, they're not going to know you're dead for a while, and even then, I'm still going to say that you're sick. And
oh my gosh.
I'm going to do the thing I did 2 episodes ago and just, bust in with a camera and totally get kicked out of the funeral.
Oh my gosh. Hey Caleb, where are you at?
There he is, everyone. Seriously, it's a really sad thing.
It's like the open casket. Oh my god. Hey, how you doing, buddy? He's not talking today.
All right, the Top Gear people. Do you ever watch Top Gear? I feel like everyone asked it before.
I think I might have seen. It's the one about cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so one of them, his name is Hammond. He's gotten into a bit of problems. Mm-hmm. Not problems. He's gotten into major car accidents and almost died a couple of times. There was
haven't we all?
A time. Well, he was testing supercars.
Yeah.
And he was in a coma for like
that?
2 days. It's a car goes stupid fast. Yeah, it was fast, and he rolled it, and he was in a coma for like 2 or 3 days.
He didn't just roll it.
He went. Anyway, they You cannot find that episode either. They pulled it from all things because he almost died and it scared him. It was the first time. The second time he almost died, it was actually kind of funny.
So they cool. I want to see that though.
Yeah, it's very hard to find.
The soccer kick of supercars.
But I mean, they did interviews after, and they says, I mean, they understand they're taking cars faster than Jesus intended mankind to ever go. It's and that if any of them ever die, they've all agreed that clearly they're gonna have to talk about it on the show, and they've all agreed that they're gonna have to announce it, and then the next thing that gets stated is gonna need to be any way. So it'd be I'm so sad to announce that Caleb Clow has passed in the past couple of days, and this. Anyway, so this episode we're talking about like that kind of thing, and I love those.
Here's our new host, Jeffrey.
Here's our new host.
Oh gosh, could you imagine a new host on here? Might happen. It's gonna happen one day.
Yeah.
Except it's gonna be you replacing.
Probably no. Like I'm. That was
just kidding, Danny. No one can replace you.
I would just start a new podcast if that happened. I'd be like, no, we're just gonna build it from scratch again.
Canceled. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you convince someone to be the co-host of Nobody Special? To be honest, I'm not even sure how I got you. And you're here on episode 67.
You didn't convince me to be a co-host of Nobody Special.
I convinced you to do a podcast,
a podcast,
and then you didn't shoot down my dumb idea for a title.
No, that was my idea.
That
was
revisionist
my idea.
history, fake news, garbage.
It was both of our ideas. Here's
Yes,
how it went.
it was a
I
team
literally remember
effort.
we were sitting at that table over there. I think we might have been eating dinner, and we were like brainstorming dumb podcast idea names. I can't talk. But anyways,
We had some real bad ones.
and I was like, what if it's just or somebody? I don't know. I thought it was me, but I probably am wrong.
No,
if
it
we're being
might have
honest.
been you.
And then
all good ideas come from you.
someone was like, well, what if it's Nobody Special? And we were like, that's so dumb.
Yeah, I mean, because
And then we both looked at each other and we were like, yep, that's it. I mean, it was pretty...
It came about, as I understand the conversation, I had asked, why should people listen to this podcast? And then both of us just like paused, and I thought I said, they really shouldn't. You know, like, I think that's... I'm not anyone.
Yeah.
You know, I know podcasts that they built their audience by saying their dad is a famous pastor. And granted, they're a great podcast too. They're fantastic, but they did drop that very early on in their thing to get the audience. And I'm like, hey, more power to you. You know, I'm all about name dropping, as I told my friend Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
What? I was talking to
I see what you're doing. I'm so tired. I didn't even. That just flew straight over my head.
Cruise, and no, I'm not friends with Tom.
Well,
Cruise.
my dad is the senior vice president and owner of. Wait for it. Our household. Isn't that crazy? I mean, like
Weird.
that's pretty.
All
It's
right.
pretty big.
It's actually a crazy thing. I was playing Xbox. I was on a game. I was chatting to some people on the game, and I was kind of stealing kills, playing close to a jerk. Turns out that kid, his dad is in charge of Xbox, and he's going to get me banned. Weird, right?
You don't want to mess with them.
Shut up, kid. I'll beat you in Apex, and I stink.
Apex. You play
Apex Legends. I play it when Joe is playing it,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I've played it by myself. Even more sad.
Those styles of games,
I
don't like them.
I'm not good at that.
Yeah, that's why. I will only play them if other people are playing, because then it's more fun.
Yeah, that's the only reason I played
Right.
Fortnite. I mean, it is a fun game, but like,
No,
it's
not.
I would agree.
Fortnite
That it is a fun game.
I still find it
it's
fun.
It is 10 times more fun when you're playing with friends.
The
full squad packed out. Man, I'd spend my night like that any night.
Absolutely. That makes it fun. The people make it fun. Now, I got to be honest, the music in Apex slaps. It's so good.
I can't even remember.
It's so...
So did it really slap?
It's fantastic. I'd play it, but we will get not demonetized, because we'd have to be we'd have to be monetized.
We could play it for, what is it, like 3 seconds?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
YouTube is cracking down on stuff, so...
You can play it for 3 seconds.
Well, I'm not doing commentary. I'm just stealing it.
It's parody, too.
Is it?
It's not like...
No, this is
we're
parody.
Giving credit... No, we're giving... It's not parody, but... We're giving credit to them that it is good music. And I feel like...
No, it doesn't matter.
I know.
Copyright.
Well, some people...
They may not sue us.
Well,
Actually,
no, they
if they
can't
sue us, they owe us
They
money.
can't be like,
even
hey,
if they win.
You
owe us the revenue you made from that. Done. How do you want that $0? I'd write a check for $0.
Venmo?
That would be the funniest thing. Like, here's a check for $0. I wrote in the number. This check actually cost me 2 cents because of the paper it's written on, but the check is worth no money.
Yeah.
Boom. So speaking of money, there was a cool topic that you had.
Good job,
I know.
Man.
I see.
I'm so tired right
now.
now.
I'm playing 3D chess right now.
3D chess.
Caleb got excited because he was like, "Wow."
Have you ever played quantum chess?
What's
that's
quantum chess?
It's a nerdy chess.
Yeah. Well, how do you?
I'm not good at chess, but quantum chess.
I had a good transition to money,
Yeah.
but now all I want to talk about is quantum chess. Then how do you play that?
It's like an actual, like it's It's crazy.
Well, I would assume it's a real game and you're not making it up right now.
No, I'm not making it up.
Is there an
I own
Ant-Man
it.
joke at the end? Quantum chess?
There's actually,
It's where
funny
time
that
goes
you
on
say
forever.
that. There's like a sketch
Can I snap my
on
fingers and
YouTube.
half the pieces go away?
There's a sketch on YouTube, and it's Paul Rudd playing Stephen Hawking, and it's it's Paul Rudd, and they're like super. It's funny because quantum chess. So it was like around the time Ant-Man came out.
Right. Paul Rudd's a gem.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And gems are worth a lot of money.
Like yeah,
Speaking of money,
gems are like in rupees, from Zelda. Have you played Zelda?
we're already there. We're already.
I know, I'm just
And
trying to-
money is like is like
Money.
a video game, and video games take cash to buy. Speaking of cash, no. So Caleb had a good idea for a topic to talk about, and I'm gonna be honest. It's a pretty good topic. I was excited about it. It's the topic of giving, and typically in
Giving.
churches. The pastor tends to bring in another pastor to preach this message, a guest pastor, so that it doesn't
His
come
reputation isn't killed.
Yeah, exactly. No, like actual thing though, because they can be a nervous that comes off as hi, help me buy a Ferrari, and that's like 99% of the
Jesse
churches.
Duplantis.
99% of the churches just calling him out by name.
Oh, I'll do it. I'm not
I
afraid.
almost said Kenneth Copeland, so we good. I was actually
where's
thinking,
my,
I did that whole episode on Copeland. But
So I have
anyway.
one jet.
No,
I know
like
that-
pastors get
God, you
scared
got
about
a second
that.
jet.
Oh my gosh.
Can I have a
Fourth.
third? Okay, we got the
Fourth
third jet. But here's the thing. This fourth jet. It has a soda machine built
It's got
in.
coasters. Yeah, no. So pastors because people get, I would say, somewhat rightfully nervous about where their money is going as they give to a church. Now, granted, I think there are some things people do because of that that's just unbiblical, unscriptural, and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then, give to the church and then trust them to put it in the place it needs to be. I know I've talked about that before, so I'm not going to harp on that too much. But pastors can get scared because they're asking people to tithe, to give to the church, and they're scared it's going to come off as please give to my Ferrari fund or the Burton Goes to the Bahamas fund, which you can donate to at my PayPal.
Gosh. No, I think for this episode,
Right.
let's just agree that your money is being used in a good place.
Yeah, and
Hopefully it is.
we can talk about it because I'm not passing a plate. At some point, I'm going to try and hawk merchandise, but it hasn't come in the mail yet. Is that how we're going to
mine in the
announce
mail.
that? Hold on. I'll edit that out. No, I won't. Yeah, but I'm not passing a collection plate or anything, so
Yeah.
I feel like this is a safe place to talk about giving.
Yeah. I think that
So
that's a good talking point just alone is
Right.
passing plate and how I think that it is terrible.
Well, I meant the more metaphorical. Bring your offering to the Lord, clearly.
I know, but I'm
all right.
saying
So this is a question I've gotten a couple of times now from
Yeah.
a few different people. They didn't email it in because they're cowards and they know who they are. I'm kidding. I love
Wow.
that man. I'm sorry. Is a good guy. Is Evan. He's great. He's asked me.
Evan's
Evan's great. I love that kid. All right, but he's asked, is tithing a thing Christians have to do?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
And that's a really good question that
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are scared to ask because it just comes off as, I'm trying to not give, so are we good?
Yeah.
And that's not, no one thinks that's how that's coming off, and it's okay to ask these questions, but on topics of money, people tend to get nervous, and again,
Right.
rightfully so. But again, we're not getting any, so let's talk about it. Caleb, tell me about giving.
Giving.
Yeah. Is tithing a Christian thing?
I would say yes.
Is it a new covenant
Tithing,
thing?
if you don't know what that is, that's giving the first of your fruits. And so that
Mhm.
means when that paycheck comes in or when
Mhm.
that allowance I know. I hate allowance. Sorry. When money comes in,
Why do you hate allowance?
I just think it's dumb that you pay your children.
I always thought, okay, I've never really thought about this. Sorry. We're going to go on a tangent. I always thought it was a way to teach kids at a younger age how to be or to understand money, because
the power of money.
I always, all right, so prior to Dave doing his whole put it into envelopes thing, my mom and dad, and I'm glad they actually did this. They got kind of hamburger patty stacking things.
All right.
It was really cool because there are 3 of them. The bottom, they stacked on top of each other. They're Tupperware kind of things. They stacked in and could connect. And the idea, in a cooking sense,
Right.
is people could get the ground beef and put it in there, flatten it to a specific size, so all the burgers come out the same size and all that. And I guess that's important to some people for cooking. I just eyeball that bad boy. Anywho, so the bottom is the savings. The middle is spending.
All right.
And the top is tithing. And granted, this made giving an allowance to my brother and me an ordeal, because they had to. I mean, if they're giving us $5, they had to come prepared to, like, all right, and how do we split it up? And that first 10%, they always put it in that tithing thing, and I had to bring that to church on a Sunday and put it in the basket to get into a habit of doing that.
Yeah.
And the savings thing, anytime any of us go to the bank, that it would go in. And to be honest, that was it taught a ton, and communicated the importance of tithing, because it was on top and it went first. And I was always thankful for that. And I had totally forgotten about that until earlier today. And I was just like, man, it's a really good, it's a pretty cool thing to do, is to just
teach your kids how to do that?
Yeah, it's kind of a kid's budget.
Getting back on topic.
Yeah, sorry. No, but I mean, it communicated tithing as an important thing a Christian
Well, yeah, but I'm
should
just talking
do.
about allowance where people just give their kids money, which I know.
I just want to talk about the meat patties thing. It was
I know.
really sweet.
And now we spent 10 minutes on that, and now it's actually talking about the research. I'm just pooping all over you right now.
I know. We were talking about money.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You took my fidget toy.
Correct. Keep going.
Anyways, now basically what I was saying is, when you get tithing is when you get your first fruits, and is when you give your first fruits. And so when you get that paycheck, you give the 10. A lot of people say 10%, but a lot of people tithe all sorts of stuff. So whatever percentage you want to give is basically, I mean 10% is like the standard, but I'm saying people give more than that.
And a tithe, to be honest and fair, is just a big fancy word that means tenth. The idea is of everything that comes in, the tithe and the first fruits is 10%. That's a thing that is that's the thing that goes first. And of the different terms in there of the importance of first fruits, I think the most important term is first.
Yep.
As people create budgets and all this, and I've been going through my budget, and I know Caleb's been going through his budget, the first thing that should go out is that 10%.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which pastor said it. I've heard it from like 3 different pastors, but the idea kind of comes down to, I understand that 90% of my income in God's hands is better than 100% in my hands.
Yeah.
And I've heard that from a few different people, but that's the idea, is that as I'm bringing this first 10%, it's a means of telling or of expressing, God, this comes first, because at the core, everything I have is already yours.
Right, yeah.
And I'm going to give this first part to understand that everything I have goes to you.
Yeah, and that's super. I think that's super important and biblical. God talks about stewardship and basically that's something that's super important.
Yeah. And I don't think tithing stopped at the new covenant either. There's nothing to suggest that. Something
that is super important is giving, or stewardship doesn't only just apply to money or financial stuff. It applies to so much other stuff,
right?
And that's super important to remember also is like your time, and that's kind of what I want to dive into is like uncomfortable giving. And I know we have, and I'll get into what I mean by that, but basically we have a Bible verse. Bibli verse. What is the Bibli verse?
2 Corinthians 9, 6-7. Do you want to read it? I highlighted it for you.
I will read. This is so bright. I don't know if you guys can see this on my face, but I'm like
a little bit. They can. He's glowing.
I am glowing. It's so bright that you guys can hear. Anyways, that's not possible. But anyways, I'm getting distracted. The cheerful giver. I know Dan
Did you read the heading?
I know Dan
Did you read the
hates
heading?
that.
Hold on. I need to take a moment. Listen.
I do that just to ruffle your feathers.
I hate the word triggered, but right now I'm a little angry.
All right, anyways, getting into this. The point is this. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. And whoever sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion. For God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that having all sufficiency in all things at all times, you may abound in every good work. Man, okay. So much stuff I love about this. I'm going to keep this up so I can see it.
Sure.
But basically, yeah, cheerful giving. That's super important. I mean, obviously, it's good to be cheerful in whatever you're doing. If you're giving your time, if you're giving your money. But basically, when it talks about sowing sparingly, you will also reap sparingly. And sowing bountifully. So sowing, I mean, that's basically what you're doing. I mean, you're not, this sounds terrible, you're not tithing if you're giving your money to, you know, the National Wildlife Association or something. I don't know what it's even called. It's a giving back into God's economy, God's church, to fuel the ministry that he is doing through that church.
Right.
And basically,
I mean, people do give to other gods, quote unquote.
well, yeah.
Yeah, and to some it is a tithe or a tenth, but the idea is if I'm being obedient to God, if I'm trusting in him, then I trust him to handle my finances by giving up some of my finances for that. It does more to fix me than it does to actually fund the church.
Right.
I think people get this idea that they pay the church and they pay the pastor's salary, so he has to come and do my thing.
Right.
And that's not how that goes at all. I'm not buying a good or a service, which is kind of an odd thing to think about. The pastor is paid through the church and that kind of thing, but just because I pay a tithe to the church doesn't mean I own the pastor. And that's kind of a thing that goes against giving cheerfully. You know, that isn't cheerful giving. It's a part of this is giving up of the self in order to give glory to God in the process. The term cheerful, I know it's boring. Can I get into the Greek a little bit?
Oh my gosh.
The Greek word, and I don't remember what it is or can't pronounce it anyway, whatever, is tied to the word that we get hilarious from. They're tied together. And the idea isn't that people are cheerful giving, but that it's almost a comical amount of giving that they're giving in... I'm trying to not say in absurdity because it's not absurd, but they're giving such an amount that it's, to be honest, it's a bit scary that all a person can do is chuckle. It's this I'm giving up everything and joyfully, and none of it has to necessarily make sense, which is kind of a fun place to be.
And it's kind of I mean, it is super. I mean, I think it's super important, obviously, or else it wouldn't be in the Bible. But I mean, like, and I don't think you
God
can really,
said it, now do it. Podcast over.
And for some reason, like, the weight, like, hits me more now that I'm, like, starting to be on my own. And it's like, I went through my budget.
Now that you have been on your own for a week.
Yeah, I have been on my own. That's right.
Will have been on your own for a week.
But basically, I mean, like, now that this transition is happening and I know it's me supporting me financially now, which is a terrifying thought.
Yeah.
And that's like, it makes it, I would say like 20 times, not even 10 times, 20 times more challenging to give money to God. And that is like,
right.
But that's where it comes in. And that's where I think this is super important, is because it gives us reliance on God, which is super, super important.
Absolutely.
And obviously, like, the goal is to have that reliance on God, even though it's not, even when you're not financially, when you are financially stable. But I'm saying, like, I seriously have to trust God to make it through this month, or like through these future months.
Right.
And that's like, I mean, it's a growing thing. I'm not. It's scary. It's scary. But
you don't have to trust God to get through this month. You have to trust God to get through all the months. This is just your life now. Like, this is this is just it. This is how it is. So.
And I will tell you.
Yeah.
I kid you not. After I did my budget, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna have enough money to get through this first half of the month. I'm dead serious. That was like a thing. And I kid you not, like the next day, I got a phone call with some like more job opportunities, and it was like insane. I mean, like, God provides for His people, and that's not because He wants us to be living abundant, like, not because I'm gonna go buy an Xbox now. You know, it's because
so we can have our best life now.
But that's where it's getting into at the end of this, where it says, "And God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that having all sufficiency in all things in all times, that may abound in every good work." So that's fueling us to do our ministry by God keeping us upright and able to go about and live stably. It may not be stable in our minds, but like stable in His mind. I mean, like, He is fueling us to do the ministry, and that is super important.
Yeah,
and that's not only. Like again, going back to our last episode, that works in so many different ways, because we're giving to the church, that fuels the ministry, that equips us to do the ministry for the people who aren't in full-time vocational ministry. I mean, it's like, it's all over the place.
It's and I'm going to be clear on a thing, because I know Caleb hates bragging on himself, so I'm going to do it. That came in, I mean, because Caleb and I have talked about the process a bit. I hope this is fine. Oh, Caleb makes $100,000. No, I'm kidding.
He's totally fine.
And this is our dumb background. Drapes from IKEA. Idiot. No. So sorry. That's not where I was intending to go. No. Caleb, in making his budget, I didn't ask the numbers because that would be super rude. But I know the first thing he did is said, tithe and give above and beyond tithe. Almost to the point that people who are sound financial people said, hey man, what's up? Like,
AKA my dad.
You good? Are you good? Are you sure? You sure? Because it was important to him to do that first. And it's this idea that the only time in Scripture that God says, test me, is in this. Because He understands that people don't want to part with their money, because it's an extension of our worth and time. I mean, it isn't, but that's how people tend to view it as, I earned this. This is what I am worth. And so I'm hesitant to part. And the idea is God says, test me in your giving and just see that I'm not going to just heap it back greater than anything you could ever give me. Yeah. I had, I'll be honest, I had about 2 years of dragging my feet on tithing, and it was, it turned into this Edgar Allan Poe kind of thing, Telltale Heart, that so in that story, the man kills a man, hides the heart under the floorboard, and it's just like beating louder and louder, and he's the only one who can hear it. And the police are like searching his place, like, we're trying to figure who killed the dude. And he's like, it wasn't me. Yeah, like, you did it. I saw you. Like, oh my gosh. So it was a Telltale Heart thing, because I'd be in church and they'd be talking about giving, and it was just like, Daddy, you should be giving. I'm like, I know, I am just getting financially stable first. And what a dumb thing. I mean, just to be fully honest.
There's no such thing.
What a really dumb, because I know the right thing to do, and I was just scared to do it as if I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. And so I just hit this day of just like praying through it and thinking, like, all right, God, I have to be faithful to this, or I'm a massive hypocrite who doesn't deserve any of the opportunities that I have. So if I'm going to encourage other people to do it,
Well, you would
I
still
need to
be a
doing
massive
it.
hypocrite.
Yeah, I still am. I'm slightly less now. Still a big hypocrite. Super okay with that.
Yeah.
There's grace. Oh, I'm not okay with that, but there's grace for it.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that churches have apps that can set up automatic payments because, to be honest, I was gonna do it that one time, and I did. I paid through an app.
Right.
And I paid. And it's like, do you want to make this a recurring transaction? I was like, no. I super don't.
As his finger goes sometimes.
No, like I didn't. And so then 2 weeks comes by.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, things haven't gotten more stable. And then I was like, no, shut up and just pay it and then make it a thing that just happens.
Right.
So that I am giving my first fruits because the computer is faster than me. And I'll be honest, out of nowhere after that, I got a very substantial and unasked for check from a relative in order to help pay down student debt.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 days after I said recurring. Mm-hmm. It just came in the mail. Hey, Dan, I'm going to send you a check. Just put it in student payments for this. And I was like, God works really fast sometimes.
Yeah.
And granted, that's not like,
Yeah,
please
not
don't
every
misunderstand me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if you pay Jesus, he pays you more. I'm not saying that because sometimes it's tithing and giving to God, and God's blessing is to be present and give you air to breathe. Mm-hmm. And that needs to be enough. Right. It needs to be sufficient. But to me, in this particular context, it was teaching that God is giving everything I need, and I need to give to him first as a means of giving of my heart,
right,
instead of giving of necessarily my bank account.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was buck wild, man.
Yeah.
It was like, oh wow, that's a large sum of cash I just got.
You gotta test yourself. Do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like,
test God in that.
And that's where I want to get into more of like uncomfortable giving. I mean, like,
yeah,
it's super. I think it's super important and like essential for our growth. And that's not even. And once again, I'm not even talking about just financially, because there's many times, like, I would say with your time. I mean, like, give uncomfortably with your time to the ministry, and like whether that's instead of playing video games one night, maybe you talk to someone who needs a light in their life and have dinner with them and like talk through everything, and then or maybe it's I'm gonna, instead of sleeping in on Sunday, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna serve at this service, like whatever it is, and it can be so many different things, and it doesn't have to be within the church, but like I said, it could be outside of that, and it's just, there's time. I would say for me is probably a lot harder, because once I'm done with my day, I just want to go home and like rest. But when that person like texts you, hey, let's let's get can you talk or something, and you're like, I just want to watch my TV show. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's it's harder for me.
I'll be honest, on the other side of that, there are a few friends I have that know when I'm full of garbage, and I was talking to one of them, and he was super busy that day, and I know that, and I was in a very bad place. Yeah. And I just said like, yeah, man, I'm just feeling kind of down, and I don't say that ever. So if I say that, what I actually mean is I'm probably crying today, and I'm not okay. So and I knew his schedule. He was actually on his way to a tennis tournament. Hi, Jeff. You're beautiful. And the next thing I know, my phone's going off, and he's calling. And I'm like, Jeff, we're millennials. We don't call. Just text me. So I picked up the phone, and it was he didn't have that time.
Right.
And gave an uncomfortable amount of time in order to be a blessing to someone who, I'm going to be honest, really needed it during that moment.
Yeah.
And the amount of grace that had been extended out of that.
Right.
I think people underestimate the amount of even comfortable giving for a person.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable giving is the hand slap of God moving through you to someone else when it's really needed.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, I mean, it all falls under stewardship, in my opinion. It's God, your whole life is God's.
Yeah.
That's what you get. It's, I mean, I'm not saying I think this way, but that's my goal one day is to understand fully that this thing that I have going on, my heart beating, and all this stuff, my life and everything that's going on, all these different opportunities and all this stuff, it is only, it's all God's. He's the one that is fueling this thing, and every second I have, every dollar I make is His, and that's super important to understand. And that's, once again, I wish I could, say that I was perfect in this, but I'm not.
Yeah.
By no means.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, but hopefully, I'm saying one day, hopefully,
I'm getting
hope
better.
that,
I'm still a hypocrite, and there's grace for that.
I hope that, and I hope that you will kind of be challenged by that, just as me and Danny are challenged, is to give your time uncomfortably, give your money uncomfortably, and
time, talent, and treasure, baby.
Yeah.
Those are the three things. And time and talent tend to be connected because most talents take time. And if people don't think talents take time, go to a talent show because those things go on forever and they're horrible. Anyway.
It all comes down to time.
My 3-year-old son can sing. No, he can't. But I love him. He's fine. Okay, true story. Sorry.
Oh, gosh.
In college, we were hosting a talent show at the church or something like that. And I didn't have a talent. I don't know. I'm funny and I'm a sarcastic turd. That's basically my talent.
Yep.
So they said, Danny, you can help host. All right. I know when I can and cannot pick on a person. Mm-hmm. So for the parent of this high school to come say, please don't make fun of my son's band, was to me one of the funniest things ever. And I wasn't going to until she said that, because the first thing I thought, it was like, oh, this band's horrible, and she knows it. Anyway, this is nothing to do with what we're talking about. It just reminded me of that, and it was really funny. Fine. They were not bad. Anyway, but time, talent, and treasure, they weren't good, but they weren't bad.
Oh my gosh.
Time, talent, and treasure, and time and talent are a bit, they're connected, but I mean sometimes it's just time. Sometimes people, they don't need your talents, but they need time. Mm-hmm. And don't underscore the the ministry of presence, quote unquote, the just being there.
Right.
Guys are kind of harder to do this because our instinct is, I'm gonna go see problem, fix problem, no problem. Right. And there are times that it's just, you just got to go sit there. Probably my favorite story, pastor friend of mine, a mentor of mine, David, he told that he was called into, because he was a hospital chaplain at the time, he was called into a place to comfort this group of people that their mom had just died. Mm-hmm. And so he comes in, and as he gets closer to their place, he hears a commotion, and a nurse comes out and is like, doctor, they're just all, not doctor, pastor, they're just all upset, and trying to calm them down and that kind of stuff. And they go in, and I think it's the daughter is just crying loudly and dramatically on the ground, And he just goes over there and he sits next to her. It doesn't try and calm her or tell her like don't cry, don't do any of that, but just sits there.
Mm-hmm.
And the nurse kind of goes, well, aren't you gonna try and calm her down? I was like, why? Her mom died. What do you want me to say? Like, what makes this better? Fine. What makes it better? Come on, tell me. What makes it better? And just over time, just being there, understanding that there's a person there that's able to just be there.
Yeah.
She kind of calmed down.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of said like, okay, this is sad, and I'm not alone. So time, I think, is important. Right. A talent. God's given us all talents. Use them for God's glory.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be uncomfortable.
Yep.
Like crazy uncomfortable. There are plenty of opportunities that are expressions of our talent that aren't always even gonna pay either, and that's fine. I actually I'm not trying to toot my own horn. Can I tell these stories?
I don't know.
A friend of mine who likes to write devotionals. No, there was a trip I was interested in going on that I just couldn't go on.
Right.
And they had asked, oh, by the way, they don't know about this podcast. They don't know about any of the other stuff I do. And they just says like, do you want to write a devotional for a group of 25 people going on this trip? And I was like, do you know? Like, I almost said that, and she doesn't, but I don't think she, or she's listening now. Hey, one or the other. Just give us a comment. Let us know. And I was like, yes, I want to do this. It was so much fun. It turned out great, and I enjoyed it. And it took hours to do, and I enjoyed it. But that's a talent I feel God's given, and I would like it to pay one day. But for now, I'm just enjoying putting out good content.
Yeah, and all of these things, they're all. I'm a big supporter of the idea that there's no growth without discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, you can't grow unless you are,
mm-hmm.
It's stretching yourself. And that's like, when it comes to money, you're not going to grow in your trust with God. I don't think you can grow in your trust with God fully unless you trust Him financially.
Right.
Or with your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, honestly, the time thing is tricky because it really, one thing I struggle with is like the eternal mindset. It's like, why should I give my time this evening to this person? But it's you can't look within the circle of this world,
right? Because God's giving eternity. Like,
you have all of eternity.
Shut up, Steven. God's giving you eternity. I'm not talking about a specific Steven. If your name's Steven, then that's Jesus
really
to you.
I'm getting a tattoo, and that's like the idea. It's part of it is like going to be a broken clock, and that's because I need to remind myself of the eternal mindset that like time, we're not run by time. It's eternity, and having that eternal mindset when it comes to people's salvations and the way that you talk to people and share the gospel with them.
Right.
It kind of changes everything, and I think obviously. Like you said with your talents, you got to stretch yourself there for discomfort. Like I would say, when it comes to film, like, I wouldn't be able to grow if I didn't stretch myself and learn new things and that honestly, it's just true. I mean, you got to stretch yourself.
I mean, I started the blogging and all that in like 2016. Unreadable, like just complete garbage. So kind of funny backstories for some of this. I was trying to figure out for like Instagram posts and that kind of stuff. How do I get the name out there? That kind of. So I did. I hated that I did this, and I don't have the source files to be able to go back and change everything. But I would quote myself.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Daniel Burton.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's there, and I go back because every now and then it'll pop up on Facebook memories, be like, "Do you want to post this again?" And I'm like, "I'd like it to disappear now, but no, that's fine." But over time, I've gotten better at it. I mean, part of uncomfortable giving is understanding it's going to stretch, and God's given a talent, but you're not perfect at it, and the only way to get better at a talent is to keep doing it. And then to keep praying, God, give me opportunities to get better then. And that's okay to ask and encouraged to ask because God's going to give those opportunities. And the good part about that is because God's doing all the heavy stuff, I'm just the idiot who gets to participate.
Yeah.
If I have watched people give horrible gospel presentations, been nervous through the whole thing, not even entirely sure everything going on missions trips.
Yeah.
And people have said, like, I just need Jesus so much. And I'm like, how did you? Like, Jesus must be real. Because everything that person just said was garbage. Like how did
Holy
you get
Spirit's a
something
real
from
preacher.
that? Yeah, exactly. So that's the good part of uncomfortable giving is that I think it tends to be uncomfortable because people are scared that it's either not going to be good enough or any of that. And like, don't worry, it's not good enough. But God is, and that's the good part.
Yeah.
So go do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's super, super important.
Absolutely. I've always appreciated it's like no, people are scared it's gonna be terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. It's fine.
Yep.
How carry on,
Yeah, it's gonna be bad in the beginning. It's gonna be hard when it comes to your talents, your time, and your money.
So, all right. What's been probably the most uncomfortable that you've ever been giving, and what happened?
Giving in like any of those areas, like
Yeah.
time.
Well, not treasure because we've beat that one into the ground already, and I appreciated the story about the, putting the budget first and then getting a call like, hey, I have the amount that you're looking for. Thank you.
It's more than the amount. That's how good God
Heck
is.
yeah. Tacos are on you next week.
I mean,
seriously though, tacos are
like,
on you
what do
next
you
week.
mean? And I'm tired. This is Caleb tired. So I have
Tell
to
a
ask
story
clarify.
of a time that you gave uncomfortably and how did it work out?
Financially.
Not anything but financially.
All right.
We've already
so
done
that's what I was
financially.
wondering.
Not finances.
That I've gave uncomfortably. Man, I would say probably I can.
You gotta
Don't
move
touch
it.
my mic.
I was
Danny's
trying to not interrupt your story, but I wanted to hear your beautiful voice.
I would say, I don't know. This is like kind of a smaller thing, but it was after Wednesday night students, and there's this kid, and he needed a ride. Well, he had a ride home, but his ride home needed to talk to like someone else to support them, and he was like, "Hey, would you mind giving him a ride home?" At the time, I had a stanky attitude, and I was like, "I don't want to do this."
You want your gun?
Because he lived all the way in Old Golf Village, and that's like it would have been. It's like a.
That's a hike, my dude.
An hour drive.
I know, was that?
And
Does
it
he
was
listen to the
already like
podcast?
it was already 9 o'clock, and I was like, but I'm just
having a late night.
And I didn't know. I mean, I'd known this. I mean, I say kid. I mean, he's my age, so I mean, I'd known him.
Kid's fine.
For like for like 4 years,
Uh-huh.
through 1122 and their students, but I really hadn't like gotten the time to like talk to him. So I was like, you know what, I was already gonna. Lose time. Not lose time.
Lose time. This is happening,
I'm
people.
joking, but I'm saying I was already going to, give up the rest of my night for this.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna dive in, and obviously God wants this to happen.
Right.
So we went to Chick-fil-A, and I talked to him then, and then, drove him home, and through that whole thing, I would say we got super close, and he revealed things to me, and it was super.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was super good.
I mean, we're not going to get into those things, by the way. That's when he said, I'm doing crack.
I mean, but, he was just super open and honest with me.
Yeah.
And I think that's... And he needed someone to, talk to about this specific thing. And so, I mean, God is good at organizing those things. And obviously, none of the credit goes to me for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you tried to get out of it at first.
Yeah, I had a bad attitude. But, I mean...
I've had all right. That's happened a few times for a few different things that God has used God has this. I'm trying to figure out how to word this that isn't a really horrifying thing to say. So I'm going to say it and then clean it up. God has used the pain and misery of others to stop me from being a little girl about the whole situation I was going through. See, that's not the way to put that, but it's how we're going to put it.
Yeah.
I was having, in high school, after college. It was after college. I was having a bad time. It was in college. That's not important. At some point early on in my life, I was having a bad time because me and my best friend had been fighting because he started dating a girl I really had a crush on. And then he was just being a turd. Like I really loved her a lot. She was cool. Anyway, and I was just so angry. I
love hearing Danny talk about this.
I didn't eat for 4 days.
My gosh.
I was that angry. So then naturally, that's the day Mark D'Amico. I was an intern in the student ministry, interning. He says, "Danny, I put your phone down on the flyer as the emergency contact." And it's like, why? I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to go on this trip. There's a trip coming up.
Yeah.
It was a spiritual trip coming up. And I was like, hey, man, but have you thought about the fact that I might bow out of this today because I'm angry? And he said, ha ha, very funny. You're going. And I was like, okay, fair enough. So then naturally the thing that happened next, as I'm the emergency contact, is I dropped and broke my phone beyond repair. I was like...
Nice.
So now the trip is in like a day and a half, and I'm like, well, now I have to go spend, because it was my first iPhone.
Right.
So I can't downgrade the plan and go back. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't go back.
Yeah.
Changed my life. Not in a good way. And I had to... I had to go like, hi, phone broken, how much new phone? They said $400, and at the time that felt like a lot, even though now it's like $900.
Yeah.
Apple, what are you doing? And then I was just in a bad mood, and I was mad. My friend dating a girl, she don't like me, she like him, this. I was in a bad mood the whole time, and just in the middle of this other kid, and I'm not tearing up, I'm cutting onions, so shut up. He was going through incredibly rough time.
Mm-hmm.
His dad died.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Just overnight, unexpected, dead.
Yeah.
And this was after his parents got in a very a messy kind of split up.
Right.
And then this kid, only like 14, with every reason to doubt and be angry at God, stares me in the face at some point of this trip and goes, I think I need to get closer to God. And then God just kind of peeked his head on out and said, yeah, you're kind of crying like a little girl right now, aren't you? Because someone didn't like you. He didn't say that. But it was just this idea of like, okay, I can eat now. Yeah. Because, like...
I'll have a meal.
All right, I'll have a meal. Because I just got majorly told off by by God speaking through a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of that was uncomfortable giving... Because I super didn't want to do anything, and that ended up being, to this day, one of the best trips I've ever been on in my entire student ministry career. Right. Easily one of the best.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, so I think part of it is just a lot of times getting over our own self.
Yeah.
And being okay, being uncomfortable, and giving out of this... not out of a place of ability or out of a thing that I have, but giving out of an inability and a trust in God.
Yeah, it comes out of, if you can understand this to like the deepest understanding, like that it's not just like your head understanding, but you feel this, that you are not the point. Right. You are not. You are... Right. You're not the point. I don't know how else to say it. And that if you understand that, and understand that God is the point, it'll be easy. I mean, both of us aren't there. But I'm saying,
I feel God is full of grace and mercy and all that, and I still feel like I've been slow clapped by God on multiple occasions. Like, you did it.
Yeah, there's head knowledge.
Congratulations.
There's head knowledge, and then there's heart knowledge. And that is basically what I'm saying is that you can know, like I know that God is the point, and I'm not the point. I
can head know it, but do I heart know it?
Yeah, but I'm still my heart is trying to catch up.
Right.
And that is.
And to be honest, sometimes the best thing to do to get the heart to catch up is to just throw the body in and be like, hey, we already went. I know you're still figuring it out, but we're already in. So, like, you might want to commit to this bad boy real quick.
Yep.
Like, heart, figure it out, because I'm already there.
Right.
You know, I found also the best thing to do in training people to share their story on a mission trip stuff kind of close to that, is to just go, and my friend James here is going to tell you his testimony. And don't tell James you're doing it. James just needs to be prepared to do it. No, I've done that before. It's super effective and usually ends up all right. Like, what'd you call on me? I don't know, because you were closest.
Yeah.
Because you smell the worst and don't put on deodorant, James. Gosh. That's why.
You really wear deodorant. On James.
No. I'm
okay, kidding. Something to sing up.
Yeah.
Let's just end this with the challenge too. That no, this is a challenge for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that we would just dive in deep and trust God, whether that's financially, with your time, or with your talents, and just trust God with it. And whether it's a small step at first, or if you want to go ahead and take a big step. I mean, that's my challenge to you. I mean, seriously. I mean,
part of the verse in 2 Corinthians says to do the thing that you feel God is calling. Yeah. To give out of their. I was trying to extend the sentence so I could find it. God was as they have decided in the heart to do. So. Yeah. I kind of enjoy that in this case. It leaves the brain out of it, because that's the idea. Is be praying about this. Be saying, all right, God, how am I gifted to be able to give in the context that I'm placed, and then. Less thinky, more doey. I don't know how else to put that. Just do it. Yeah. If there's even God, I think I might be called to start a small group in the student ministry in the church. Just go do it. Just go here. Me go small group good, and then grow in that. It's going to be uncomfortable, specifically if you're doing a middle school small group where every prayer request is, "There's this girl, she's not into you." No, I haven't said her name. I know. Just trust me on this.
Oh my gosh, Danny.
What? You've been there.
Yeah, whatever.
Tell me I'm wrong. I'm sorry, will you be praying for this girl? I'm going to ask her out in 6 months. No, I'm not. Anyway, but no, be in prayer about, God, how am I gifted? Right. And then how to extend that.
Yeah. Fun in the sun.
We had other stuff we were going to talk about, but we're not going to, because this is a really good place to end. Yeah. Caleb, we want to know what their talents are.
I'm dead serious.
No.
This is
way more fun.
We've forgotten the segment 2 shows in a row.
2 shows in a row. But you know what? You'll have to tune in next episode to see what it is.
Oh, yeah.
For when we forget it then. Until then, Caleb, I think Caleb and I are also interested in just trying to hear from our audience a bit, and on the post or on the a YouTube thing and people are tuning in, tell us a story about a time that it's been uncomfortable to give. Yeah. I think that'd be kind of a cool thing to go through, our stories of ways other people have gotten through this. Put comments on thegospeloutpost.com on the page or on the YouTube channel so people can see it. Because I think if people can see it, then it kind of... Everyone has that story, and it's important to share that story. Right. So, because there's plenty of people that are hesitant to do it because they haven't... They think they're the only person. Yeah. And you're not, but other stories help. Right. So, where can they do that?
Yeah. You can go to thegospeloutpost.com/nobodyspecial, and there's a place that you can ask questions, say hello, or just say anything. And
Yarp.
And basically, and then you can go to also the YouTube comments if you want to do that, or you can go to
subscribe,
Instagram,
smash that bell,
Instagram DM, and Facebook direct message or whatever it is. But basically, the point of this is that we want to be a community for each other. Yeah. And I mean, this isn't just. We don't want this to be just a dumb podcast where you just listen to us, but
It's already a dumb podcast.
Yeah, but like we just want it to be, a place where you learn, grow, and that you know that you can have
grow together.
us,
Yeah,
grow together.
Yeah.
That you can have us praying for you. We would love to hear your stories. I mean, like seriously.
Absolutely. So Facebook.com/Nobody Special Podcast, Instagram.com/Nobody Special Podcast. Twitter can forget itself. And that was way more aggressive than I thought it was.
No,
it
can forget itself.
So anyway, that's gonna. Anything else we need to cover? Thank you for everyone who continues to tune into this. We have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And despite being tired, Caleb and I really enjoy this a lot.
What time is it?
It's only
11:10.
9 o'clock.
11:10.
9 o'clock. It's gonna be so easier when we will have already been neighbors.
Yeah. Well,
Soon.
actually, no, not at the time of this recording.
No, we will at some point. We will
Not in
have
this
already
episode.
been. Yeah, not this one.
I'm ruining it for you right now.
No, not this one. But at a later episode, we will have already been neighbors for a while.
Whatever, Danny.
That's gonna
do it for us today.
Go ahead.
I wanted to see. I was literally gonna try and
just
steal
do the
it from
thing.
you. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us today. That's what Danny says every episode. I'm gonna change it. All right. Well, this is the end of the episode. I'm Danny.
I'm Caleb.
And we are.
Nobody special.
Okay, before we.
Oh no!
We're continuing.
No,
we're gonna continue. I'm dead serious.
Thanks for thanking of us.
I literally said I'm Danny out of it being normal in my head. It didn't even register me that I said that.
Anyway, so that's gonna do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into our podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Caleb.
We are
Nobody special.